I'm Midnight Agent Raw.
And I'm Okame.
We are the Super Media Bros podcast, and we are founding members of the OddPods Media Network. Shit, I forgot to watch The Soup.
Thanks, Uncle Fock.
Beating and yeeting.
All that and more.
Are you ready to kick some ghosty ghost ass?
Super Media Bros.
I couldn't tell if that dude was having like a stroke, a seizure, or trying to eat morsels really quickly.
At the fastest rate possible.
It's like, it's like gargling it.
Oh, what was that candy? Pocky.
Yes.
He's just trying to Pocky.
Welcome to episode 176 of the Super Media Bros podcast. I'm Midnight Agent Raw.
And I'm Okame.
We're taking a trip straight over to Asia this week, guys.
Again.
Cold Cinema Showdown 75. The Eternal Evil of Asia versus Encounters of the Spooky Kind, aka Spooky Encounters, aka a shitload of other fucking titles like Close Encounters of the Spooky Kind. Like, this movie had so many fucking titles.
Yeah. And I was thoroughly confused when I saw the title watching the film, and I looked at Richie, was like, wait, I thought it was called Spooky Encounters. Like, no, it's both.
Yeah, like, if you go back and listen to our catalog of this particular series, you'll find out very quickly that we've watched movies and we're like, hey, look at the cover. Raw Force. But in the movie, it says Kung Fu Cannibals. And it's like, what the fuck?
It's like, oh, this is what I'm watching, this movie. No, it's not.
No, it's not. There's a lot of that.
You want a title? I'll give you titles.
I'll give you a fucking title. I want to make a quick factoid about Eternal Evil of Asia before we jump into it, which I think you are going to find fascinating, as well as many listeners. So this movie came out in 1995, and it's a Hong Kong-based film. Now, this was done at the height of the Category 3 craze that was over there. This was a rating system, which is basically nobody under 18. This was when Hong Kong was still under British rule before they got handed back over to China. So they were trying to crank as many of these style movies out as possible before it happened. Because, as we know, they were going to just fuck over their creative and rating system.
So basically neuter everybody.
Yes. Yeah, so
make some PG or G content.
Yeah, no shit. But what I like about this matchup is really cool because like, Cody has been wanting to talk about this movie for a while, and I was sitting there thinking, well, what can we put with it? And then I've been wanting to get into Spooky Encounters for a while. I was like, well, let's fucking do this.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what you get, the listener. This is what you get. You get us ranting and raving about two very oddball movies, but for very different reasons, and both were fun as fuck. So let's get into The Eternal Evil of Asia. It is a 1995 Hong Kong Category 3 comedy horror film. It follows a group of friends on a hedonistic trip to Thailand where they accidentally kill a sorcerer's sister, and when they come back home to Hong Kong, they've been cursed. Let's go.
One of the first scenes was some random dude literally getting killed. He was being chased by ghosts. It was actually wasn't it the parents that was haunting him by the soup or the noodles or something? So I'm trying to remember, because I know at the end of everything, he was being basically bombarded with ghosts, and he jumps off a building into like all these fluorescent lights.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay, so this is one of the brothers that fucked up over in Hong Kong.
He fucked up.
Or I'm sorry, he fucked up over in Thailand. He really fucked up.
But I was trying to remember because I think it was either this guy or another guy.
It was the bald dude.
Yeah. But one of them was literally being haunted by his parents, and all the parents were trying to make him do was eat noodles. I think it was.
Yeah, because they force fed him noodles.
Yeah.
Like until he was gagging on it. And I think that's when he tried to run, and then he fucking leapt off the building, which fucking hell, dude. Fluorescent light tubes are no joke. The fact that motherfucker got impaled by one, and it was still going off, like it was flickering and shit.
I don't understand how the body impact is weaker than the fucking light itself, but you know.
Or we did judge. It was probably made better.
Yeah. Hong Kong do it better.
That's right. But yeah, that's kind of like where we started with this. Now, if we really tried to sit and explain a linear plot with this, we'd be fucking you over pretty bad because what the fuck is this movie, you ask? A bunch of shit.
I mean, you basically told them what was going on. It was literally a bunch of friends going to get laid in Thailand. They come back after they accidentally killed a sorcerer's sister, and now they're haunted by that sorcerer, or they're cursed by that sorcerer. Every single person involved in that fiasco is now a target. And one of the main characters is either engaged or he's married to this chick. I don't even know. But they're all worried because home dude died. And now they're figuring out, okay, well, we need to keep this a secret no matter what. Because they all the guys met on like this bridge or something at one point. And they're like, no, we got to keep this a secret no matter what, because that was like a bad weekend.
Right.
Basically.
It's literally like The Hangover, but in Thailand.
Yeah.
Again. But before it happened.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things I forgot about is what the Thai people call the guys from Hong Kong, Hong Keys.
Mm-hmm.
I about pissed myself when I saw that. Like, what?
Yeah. But I think homegirl, the girlfriend or the fiance, is like a hairdresser or some shit, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, because she at one point talks about how her dude is just not like satisfying her or some shit. And I guess it's a friend of hers who is it's a chick that goes to get her haircut, which we find out later is also a witch and befriends her.
Right.
And like she's talking about all this shit. Like all her friends were in the salon, like trying to get her like, oh, this is how you be sexy and you do this and you do that, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, one chick was so into it. Like she had a bag, like a brown paper bag that looked like a saggy pair of nuts. And she was like, you literally have to like put them in your mouth and lick them and all this other shit.
Yeah, she made like a fucking paper bag dick and balls. It was so funny.
Yeah. But as all this was going on, she was literally being harassed by how to be sexual pleasing to her boyfriend or whatever. You see in the distance outside the building, this random person that's just watching.
He's watching, all right.
Yeah. And come to find out, that's the sorcerer, who is, we don't know at this point what he's doing, but he's just watching her. Well, she goes home and they try to get intimate after a little while, but home dude, I don't remember the guy's name, but they're all like kind of just a blur with the names. He has an issue. He doesn't take his blue pill, I guess you can say, because the sorcerer has somehow a voodoo doll of him, and he puts a lock on his dick.
Yeah, that's right, because he basically makes it where he can't get an erection.
Yeah.
And his wife is pulling out all the stops. I mean, pulling literally everything out, all the stops.
Like, if he ain't horny, we were.
Exactly.
the audience.
We'll just put it that way.
Yeah. But, yeah, during the entire time, he couldn't do anything. He was just very flaccid. And whenever she kicks him out, the lock comes off, and he's like, shit, I'm erect now. Babe, I'm good to go. And the door opens again, is right back to the home. But
so bad.
He's literally getting fucked with this whole entire time. Doesn't know why. Then the sorceress comes in, the one that's helping out, and she's like, y'all are, being targeted by this sorcerer. And I'm trying to teach you, how to protect yourself and whatnot.
Right.
And that's a whole nother story there. Well, I think at this point is when they recall the incident in Thailand.
I don't remember which one of them is talking to her about it, but basically
it was the brother.
Yeah, I mean, they go back in the the flashback scenes or whatever, and they're over there at a brothel. They get chased out, and they wind up at the wizard's house, and he tells them that they have to stay and watch this fight between himself and a husband and wife duo team.
Yeah.
One of the dudes literally doesn't buy any of this shit. So this is the infamous Dickhead scene.
Yeah, it's actually the brother, because he's the most cocky, literally about everything. He is the horniest one of the group. Like that's all he talks about is like fucking something. And he denies this wizard's power at every turn. And he says, why should we believe this dickhead? The wizard hears him. It's like, one of you just insulted me. So now you become what you insulted me with. And he literally casts a spell to turn his head into a fucking penis.
This is literally the scene that made its way around on YouTube that made us want to watch this movie. Because we were like, what the fuck? Like, this is pre-Funky Forest, I think. We've been talking about doing this movie for a couple of years now.
Funky Forest was just like a 8-minute video running around Facebook. And then I was like, oh, this film is just as weird too. Okay. So they all believe him. The wizards fight, which
it's literally fucking weird.
the fucking couple,
Literally the fucking couple.
their power comes from them having intercourse. And
Like they're flying and he's just banging her in the air and shit.
while he's fucking thrusting in her, the fucking ground like it's hit with like a powerful force.
Yeah, they're like,
The fucking wizard is running for his life while all this is happening, and homegirl throws a placenta spell wrap around him, and she's like, "You will now become an infant and die from juices from the placenta," or some bullshit like that.
yeah, like it basically Benjamin Buttons his ass into goop.
Right. Well, one of the guys pulls this powder or something that the wizard uses for like warding off like demons and shit.
It's cocaine.
Yeah. He throws it at the fucking duo, and they like split apart and fall apart. And the wizard comes forth and like actually gets them both. Yeah, he comes
forth.
Yeah, he comes forward. Well, he ends up winning the fight, befriends the group, and they're literally like the hangover group at this point. Like, oh yeah, we're all best buds. We hang out. We do this. We do that. Well, they all go to the wizard's actual house, and they introduce the sister, who is apparently trapped.
She has a crush on Bond. That's the guy's name.
Right, Bond. They all get introduced to the sister, and eventually the wizard explains to the sister, explains to the audience to the sister at the same time, but he had a prediction from his father that she would die or something tragic would happen to her on her birthday of this year, basically.
It was like her 23rd birthday.
Something like that. So this was the reason why she couldn't leave the house. She was not allowed to do anything without him being there, whatever. But she was so infatuated with Bond. And he was like, no, I'm with someone. I can be with you, but, I'll still be friends with you, basically.
Right.
Well, they all go back to the hotel that they were staying at, and she tells the wizard, the brother, like, look, I want Bond. Like, that's the only thing I want. So he crafts, oh my God.
It's like a fucking love potion, but the way they do it is so gross.
This spell sequence is disturbing because he is gathering sweat from her mid
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And it is, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they're all talking about going back out, doing their thing again. And Bond's talking to his girlfriend. Well, he goes into the bathroom to talk to her, which is strange. Why they have a fucking phone in the bathroom, I don't know. But there's a delivery to the room.
It's not DiGiorno.
No.
It's DiPorno.
Yeah. Well, the guys pick up the delivery, and it was literally specifically stated for Bond.
Yeah. Like even the guy was like, he has to sign for it specifically. And then the one guy looks over, you're Bond. Oh yeah, I'm Bond. I'm Bond. These assholes open this fuck, because that's what these people do. They fuck with each other.
Right.
So they open it up, and it's actually kind of funny how they do it when they open it up, because when it opens, it's like this big like poof of red powder just in the air, and they all look at it and they breathe it in, and they're just like,
and they are goo for homegirl now.
And this is a horrendous backfire, like no bullshit, because it's fucked up because they all show up and proceed to have this giant fucking orgy. And when she wakes up, like she doesn't, like she's under the potion spell too. So when she wakes up, she's thinking like, oh, fuck yeah, it worked. No, it didn't.
She loses her shit.
Yeah, she loses her shit on them. And she's like trying to attack them and everything. Well, they're trying to like calm her down and stop her. And they accidentally kill her because which one of them like shoves her, but she falls on like a blade or something.
It's something sticking up from the ground that was hard enough to pierce through her.
Well, she dies instantly though.
Yeah. So they all hightail it out of there.
They did exactly like Big Ass Spider. Oh my God, she's dead.
Yeah.
And then they just leave.
Yeah. And this is when the brother was like, okay, yeah, y'all are fucked. So he ends up killing everybody one by one. Well, the next one in line that dies, he is at dinner with, I guess, his girlfriend. I don't know.
Yep.
Somebody. And the wizard makes it to where he is a glutton. He's eating everything in sight, like even his dates or his girlfriend's food. The waiter tries to pick it up. He's like, no, you don't waste food. He eats the whole fucking bowl, and he's just craving more and more food. Well, he ends up biting a patron of the restaurant, and they all start freaking the fuck out.
Oh, the wizard's name is Lamey. I forgot about that.
Right, Lamey connection.
Yeah.
I remember the whole cocaine.
The whole cocaine thing.
Yeah.
What is this? Lamey connection?
Yeah, somewhere in Thailand.
Somewhere. Somewhere in Miami.
Yeah.
That's it. Miami connection.
Yep.
There we go.
Yep. But yeah, so he ends up biting this one patron, and then he gets to the point where he's biting his actual arm to the bone, and he dies instantly from just stuffing himself to death and like, bleeding out and everything like that. Well, at this point, the brother, he's being haunted by both the other two victims, and I think some other people that were involved. I'm not sure. I'm trying to remember like exactly who was haunting him. Well, he ends up going to a local priest or some kind of like spirit warder person, whatever. And they put him in what's called, I think, Buddha's nest.
Yeah, basically it's a protective thing. So whatever is trying to haunt him or curse him can't do it. And then it buys him enough time until either the curse is lifted or the person that caused it is dead.
Right. Well, he's being like hallucinating the entire time because he can't even leave for any reason. Because it was just funny how one of the
wasn't he talking about how he had to shit really bad?
Yeah, he had the shit, and one of the guys that was helping the priest, he was like, "Here's a bag." He's like, "I can't even go take a shit." It's like, no, you have to stay in here.
Here you go, shit bag.
Yeah. Well, like I said, he's starting to hallucinate the other two victims, the other two friends of his. You know, one guy with the freaking fluorescent bulb coming out of his body, and it's just sort of flickering in his face the entire time, and then home dude with the arm. And then other people involved and whatnot. Well, he ends up seeing Bond and his sister come in, and they're like, "Oh, we'll get you out of here. Don't worry about it." Well, Bond gets killed, and the sister ends up, I think, getting stuck to the table, and certain actions happen that we didn't really want to. Yeah,
he basically just has his way with her, and it's pretty fucked up.
But on top of that, the whole place is on fire. And she's out of her mind. She doesn't know what the hell's going on. The brother's like, "Get out of there now. Just leave me here. Get out of here now." Well, he takes a leap of faith. He breaks out the nest and nothing happened. It was all a hallucination. So he fucked up.
Oh, yeah, he definitely fucked up because he turns around and gets got.
Yeah. The wizard just yep. And he goes full on fucking Pinhead. Just sticks him with needles and shit.
I forgot about that. Yeah, he sure the fuck does. You know what I didn't mention earlier that I forgot about almost? Okay, I'll go ahead and say I want to say as much as like American directors get influenced by foreign cinema and shit, I would like to think and believe that foreign directors get influenced by American cinema as well.
Yeah, I think it's either way.
There were a lot of Sam Raimi style camera edits, like just the cinematography, the zoom ins, the Dutch angles that he would use in some of the shots in Evil Dead 1 and 2. A lot of that was happening. Mm-hmm. And weirdly enough, when we get into Encounters of the Spooky Kind, there's a lot of Evil Dead style shit in that one. And it came out around the same time that the first one did, but it reminded me of the second one. So I would assume that Sam got some influence possibly from that film and used it there. But I just thought that was kind of an interesting theory or thought.
Getting nods from each other, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's 100% true or not, but looking at it, you can see it.
Yeah. But
yeah, anyway.
Yeah, so the one wizard,
the priest.
Yeah. She tells the girlfriends, like, look, this is the only way we can combat him because now this wizard has the power to use his soul to transport wherever he wants because he devised a particular type of spell that involves blood. And he can basically have an out-of-body experience and just travel anywhere. So the only way to kill him is to either kill his actual body or trap his soul or use this certain sword or whatever. It's just a lot of like mumbo jumbo going on at this point, but they're basically it's like, okay, there's ways to dispatch them, but you have to be careful about it.
Yeah. So how do they do it? They figure out the way to do it best is to kill him mid-orgasm, because when he's orgasming, he loses a bit or all of his power for a small window of time. So old girl is just kind of set up to be taken and fucked by this guy. ghostily, I might add, because it was really weird seeing that dude just covered in blood, naked in front of this table of shit. And this chick simulating, like, no bullshit, we're not being gross. It's exactly as is depicted on camera. This chick is simulating fellatio on camera with an invisible dick. And it's very weird to watch because we were sitting there like, I don't know whether to be turned on or like going, what the actual fuck is going on here? That is literally our reaction to this sequence.
Yeah, because he was stupid creepy about it the entire time, for one. But two, the physical response to his body was whenever she would kiss him, it would literally, like, you can see the motions on him.
Yeah, like the skin indentions.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It was just so disturbing to like visually watch that and have him being the fucking asshole that he is about it. Because during the whole entire time that he's pursuing all these people, his sister is literally taunting him, saying, "You really want her. Like, I can tell you want her." And he's driven insane. Like, he goes from a really decent wizard, like good person, to this fucked up, like power hungry, horny spellcaster, basically.
Great description. Very true.
Yeah. So again, having this weird ghost dad sex going on.
Ghost? Did you say ghost dad?
Ghost dad.
I just thought about the Bill Cosby ghost dad movie.
Yeah.
Put the pudding, pop in the pudding.
I mean, he pretty much made this girl have sex with him.
Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
What an asshole. Both of these guys.
Mhm.
Cosby and the wizard are dicks.
Yeah. But yeah, they have their little cirque to fuck me.
Cirque to swallow me.
Yeah. I'm not joking, y'all. Like, she's like up on his fucking chandelier like Saya and just gets fucked swinging around.
It's literally a sex swing.
Yeah. And he finally orgasms, and you see like a brief shot from the side, like a super soaker gun, just squirt.
I just pictured that he orgasms.
Yeah.
It's a pufferfish.
Yeah.
Just,
But no, you get like a little like shot of like juice from
no,
the
God,
side angle.
let's be honest. It was a fucking water gun.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I can't say anything different about that, but
It's just funny, though.
But that was the moment where she summons these like two spirits or something to literally kill him mid, relief, I guess you could call it.
Mid-relief, mid-release.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he ends up going bye-bye. Well, at this point, I'm thinking to myself, they had to sacrifice Bond to a degree because she was the bait, but also he was the bait as well. He got involved, he got hurt and stuff like that, but he eventually survives. How do you have a relationship with someone?
How do you have a relationship after being fucked by Scary Potter? The world may never know, but we know. You would think this is going to have a happy ending, but oh no, it does not, because they go to a doctor to get checked out and they're together. And the nurse comes out and she's just like, congratulations. Why? Oh, you're pregnant. And they look at each other and then it just cuts to the wizard bastard, like the red motherfucker just laughing like,
I'm with you always.
The end.
So they're having a ghost baby.
The eternal evil of labor was never produced. The strange follow-up was never produced. I'm totally kidding. There was never a follow-up called that, but goddamn, there probably could have been.
Okay, conceptually speaking, yeah, I know I said that. How do you impregnate someone with magic? How does that semen travel through the magic vortex?
He's the semen demon.
Yeah. Like, I know it's all magic and whatnot, but still, like, that concept just kind of baffles me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it baffled them too.
He literally just like magic missiled her.
Magic the fathering.
Yeah.
That was the eternal evil of Asia. Does your dad resemble a 70s disco Yeti man?
Do you need to turn into a swan?
Did you accidentally post a photo of your father on the internet that you thought was Bigfoot?
Have you ever wondered why your dad's OnlyFans page is bombing? Only because he got the wrong picture of himself up there? Well, look no further. We have the solution for you.
That's right. Make your dad proud this year for Father's Day and get him, and maybe yourself, the Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right. The Lawnmower 4.0. Imagine surprising your dad with a sleek, well-designed and optimized body hair trimmer that says, your balls will thank you on the box.
Yo, bruh, thank you for trimming us down here. We've been needing it for about 5 years now.
This 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to the advanced skin-safe technology. Now, how is this one different than the other hair trimmers?
It gives you the ability to turn the 4000K LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. You can shave your balls in the dark.
It also includes a multi-function on-off switch that can engage a travel lock. This is a great feature if your father or you do a lot of traveling.
The Lawnmower 4.0 even allows you to customize your trim through additional guard lengths with sizes 1 through 4.
The new wireless charging system uses electromagnetic induction, which can help the battery length last longer. Yeah, you heard that right. Wireless charging ball trimmers are now a thing. Also, have you ever seen a nose bush sticking out of your dad's nose? The Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer is the best nose hair trimmer on the market and the perfect gift for your dad.
They also have other amazing products like cologne, crop mop ball wipes, crop reviver ball toner, and crop preserver ball deodorant, so you can be smooth and smell great.
Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code SUPER at manscaped.com.
Repeat that code.
That's 20% off with free shipping using our code SUPER at manscaped.com. Manscaped products are cruelty-free, paraben-free, dye-free, and vegan. That's 20% off with free shipping using our code SUPER at manscaped.com. Don't forget that you came from your dad's balls. This year, show your original home some love with Manscaped. Your home's gonna be more ballin' than ever.
Make dads like us ballin'.
Hey, you there. We've got a question for you. Are you tired of clickbait stories and the loudest voices driving discussions in culture and entertainment?
If so, I'm Dylan.
I'm Kendall.
And I'm Corey. And we host the podcast From the Middle. We're middle-class guys living in the middle of America, in the middle chapters of our lives with points of view somewhere in the middle.
We take a more reasonable and centrist approach in our discussions covering genres like comedy, culture, entertainment, and interviews, with really interesting folks like business owners, comic creators, doctors, news anchors, New York Times best-selling illustrators, professional stand-up comics, and more. We really value a relaxed and conversational podcast, one that we hope is so fun and laid back, you'll forget you're not actually hanging out with us.
So search at From the Mid Pod, just like it sounds, or check us out everywhere you can find podcasts.
Where do we go from here?
Well, where we go from here is to Encounters of the Spooky Kind, because so how the Eternal Evil of Asia was built at the height of the Category 3 rating system.
Mm-hmm.
Encounters of the Spooky Kind is a 1980 Hong Kong martial arts comedy horror film, and it stars Sammo Hung, which also directed the film. Now, what is really neat about this movie is it was essentially one of the first Jiangxi films, which a Jiangxi film genre is basically like horror, comedy, kung fu mashup with like vampire or ghost or like
Supernatural shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And this was actually one of Hong Kong's first action horror comedy films. And it was absolutely mimicking the title of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And it has a standalone sequel which has like nothing to do with it. Go figure. Essentially, this movie deals with this man who is...
They call him Courageous Chang.
Yeah, Chung.
Chung.
Yeah, Courageous Chung, or in China, they actually call him Bold Chung, which is okay. But basically what happens is his wife and boss are having an affair with each other, and they decide to kill him with a wizard. But that particular wizard's rival like has a friendship built with Chung, and there's a war between the two factions.
Yeah, it was actually the brother of the original wizard.
I'm not so sure if it's a blood brother or just like a
like by magic or by faction, basically.
Yeah, because the movie opens with Chung having a nightmare about these ghosts, and it's like an older person and a young person in a wine jar, than as a human. And he escapes and he wakes up and falls out of bed. And this is where you kind of get the idea that Chung is like just kind of like an everyman who his wife doesn't really give a shit. Obviously doesn't give a shit about him. And he's like a pretty nice guy. He's just average. He's trying to make his way, basically.
Right.
Well, his friends challenge him to spend the night in this abandoned house, like where they're having lunch, and they talk about this house, and they talk about this challenge where he's got to peel this apple in one go in front of a mirror. But if he breaks the skin, then something bad will happen. So they go prank him because they follow him to his house when he's going to do this later. And it's fucking hilarious because this movie has like that weird dark comedy kind of feel to it where you're kind of freaked out a little bit. You're kind of nervous, but you're like, this is kind of funny.
Yeah.
So he's peeling it and he fucks up because his friends are outside with this giant like leaf fan thing and they're throwing leaves and they're blowing it into his window, and his other friend dresses up as a ghost and lifts the mirror part of the fucking mirror away, and he's like and fucking with him, and shit. It's so stupid, but it's funny.
But what was funny about that part, he recognizes one. Why is that ghost wearing man's shoes?
Yeah, that's the funny part is he didn't like think first, why are there shoes behind the dresser?
Yeah. Like, no, why are they men's shoes?
Yeah, exactly.
2, he notices the fucking eye, which the friend that challenged him to go to his house, he has a fucked up, I think it was a right eye, if I'm not mistaken. 3, he notices a huge ass mole above his lip.
Yep.
And he's like, oh, this is a fucking prank. So he gets them all to like, stop, I know what you're doing. Y'all are assholes. Y'all owe me lunch tomorrow.
Well, while that happens, the real ghost appears and yoinks his friend through the fucking mirror. And then you're just like, oh shit, is this where this movie's going? Which I think it's kind of funny that they never really explore the rest of this part of the film. Because at one point, Chung shatters the mirror, which causes the whole fucking house to collapse. And I just never heard from again. But I guess that kind of gives you the whole, oh, this movie's going to have this kind of feel to it where it's funny, a little spooky, definitely campy.
Right.
In the best way possible, though. Now, the next, like, I forgot to mention, he cuts the ghost's hand off, which there comes like a scene later where his hand gets kind of possessed too, which again is the whole Evil Dead 2 reference that we'll get to. But anyway, like the next day, Chung is having, I guess, lunch with his other 2 friends at the tofu stand. And that guy is telling a whole story about something similar that happened to him and his wife that happened to Chung. Well, about the wife cheating and all this other shit like that. She kind of like busts in and she's like, what the fuck are you doing? And everybody like hurries up and eats their fucking rice and just puts the money down and leaves. Well, this actually worries Chung, so he goes home to check on his wife, but he sees like 2 people that are just like peeking in and he scolds them. But basically what's happening is his employer is fucking his wife and he rolls in to confront her, but she just reverse psychology and makes him feel like an asshole, even though he's right, because there's a whole fucking shoe and evidence to support what these 2 people were looking at.
Yeah, because she makes, it was Tam, I think his name was.
Master Tam.
He escaped through the window and out the back alleyway while she's berating him for, you make me look bad amongst all the people. I hate you. Don't leave me. Like just putting on his whole fucking facade about how it's Chang's fault.
That's right, because at one point he has like a meat cleaver or some shit because he was talking about how they hit him in the kitchen or some bullshit and he comes out with the cleaver. Well, the whole town winds up seeing this in the open door. And she's like, oh, you've shamed me. You've embarrassed me in front of the entire town. Blah, blah, blah. Get out.
But Tam eventually gets to the point where he's like, well, now they have evidence. Chang knows something's up and he's going to come after me. So they come up with a conspiracy to prove that he had nothing to do with it by killing Chang off at some point.
Yeah, they basically, he hires a Mao Shan witch, which is Chen Hui, who is Priest Sui's, quote, brother, which is basically his junior disciple. So when Sui gets word of this, he gets pissed off, like you were saying earlier, because it's against the rules of their sector, and then he's kicked out. So Chung gets tricked into spending the night in this temple that they're going to like set him up to be murdered in, but he finds Sui, who tells him like, okay, here's what's going to happen. Like at a specific time, like at 1 o'clock in the morning, you have to sleep on the roof. At 2 a.m., you have to sleep under the coffin, and then you'll sleep on top of the coffin or some such shit until the sun comes up.
Right. He gives him specific instructions on how to handle this night. He ends up sleeping for a little while, and then he notices that, well, to kind of reverse back a little bit. So the
Master Chin.
Master Chin, I couldn't think of his name. Thank you. He was at the palace where Tam was, and he was doing his ritual. And man, these rituals are out there. Like there's that fucking like noise that like that nasally.
He has like it's like he holds his hands up to his mouth, and he looks like he's just nibbling on every like microscopic thing possible. He's sweating profusely.
But he ends up like drinking some liquid, some water, and he sprays it on the coffin, like this little like
saucer of shit. And it's
yeah,
like what is like a model of the coffin?
Yeah, it was a model of the coffin. And he has this wooden sword. It's specifically, it looks like it's like a wand, I guess you can say, but it's like a Chinese sword almost. And he uses this ability to possess the body inside the coffin in the temple.
Which is a vampire.
Right. It was interesting because whenever Chung notices it, he gets up on top of the roof or up in the ceiling, basically in the rafters. And this vampire just pops up and he's literally doing the whole like mummy pose.
Yeah, it's like it's a Jiangshi. It's Chinese. It's weird because like the vampires in Chinese lore hop.
Right.
Like they don't like necessarily walk, they hop. And they did that. And it was funny because I forgot about it. And then I saw it, I was like, oh my God, that just yeah, it was so
it's
funny.
Authentic, yeah.
Right. Because the fucking cadaver is like looking for him, but it's through the eyes of Chin, basically. And Chin's like, I can't find him. And it's like, dude, I think that's the part where it was a little like, oh my God, like it's a little, there's a little bit of scary, but it's very funny because it's all physical humor at this point. So he gives up after he can't find him. Right when Chung falls down, well, he hides under the coffin, but he gets found. And so we get a really neat kung fu action sequence right here. Like a fight between the cadaver and Chung. And it's fucking cool as shit.
Yeah, we get that old school like kung fu sequence, not the like real smooth, like fast paced. It's more of like the stop motion almost, where it's like they hit, they stop, then they go to the next fight and stop. It's really that authentic old school.
Yeah, it's all one take mostly. Most of it's all one take, like in some of the shots. And I think that's what I miss the most about shit like this. Because a lot of current cinema, too many jump cuts, too many close pull in shots, too many frenetic editing things. This is just pure authentic kung fu. And he fights him back into the coffin. Well, he comes out, which we forgot. Like the bet for him to stay, he was going to get 10 taels of silver.
Right.
And then the next day, he's challenged to stay another night for 50. Well, this night is actually kind of funny because Priest Sui tells him, you need to collect 50 chicken eggs to throw into the coffin when it opens to hit this guy with. If you
But it has to be chicken eggs.
Yes.
No other eggs.
No. If he runs out of eggs, he must throw dog blood over the Jiangshi and also like the same dog's legs.
Right.
However, when he goes to collect the chicken eggs, he gets 10 duck eggs put into the basket as well. So you already know this shit's about to get fucked up. Which is this scene is fucking hilarious because he's on the coffin and when it's like lifting up, when Chen starts his shit, he just like cracks the egg and he's fucking like throws and pelts this dude. But every time he hits the fucking cadaver, it hits Chen. So Chen's like, what the fuck?
Well, it gets to the point where he uses the duck egg and it doesn't work, so he gets yeeted off the fucking coffin.
Dude. That motherfucker. Is this the scene where Chin actually gets tossed into the building?
Yeah, after he gets sprayed with the blood, the cadaver gets sprayed with the blood.
Dude, it is the most Looney Tunes looking shit ever because like he gets hit, he flies into the roof, and literally like the next shot of him, he's in a full blown body cast. And it is literally like the most Acme shit ever. But it's funny as hell.
But being that Chen has failed both nights, Tam is like wondering what we can do about this situation. Well, his advisor tells him in whisper form that they're going to basically frame him or blackmail him. Or frame him, actually. It's not going to say blackmail, but they frame Chang or Chung. I keep
from
saying
Moiter.
Chang. Yeah. So the next day, he goes back and the same two guys are peeping in. And Chung's like, okay, no, I got this. So he barges in, falls onto the ground, and there's blood on the floor. And it's all over his hands.
Yeah, he's kind of fucked now because as soon as that happens, like everything just kind of fell into place or whatever. So he falls hand first into the blood, and somehow just magically the inspector appears with multitudes of people. And he just rolls right in and he's like, oh yeah, you killed your wife, didn't you? And this is how you did it. And this is where you threw the body out the window, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, dude, somebody else did it.
Well, one of the ladies in the street was one of the witnesses. The witnesses.
Right.
She was like, oh yeah, they fight all the time. He even threatens to kill her with a cleaver and all this other shit. Well, Chung is like, well, talk to
the tofu chef.
Yeah, because he knows I was there. Well, some ironic happenings happened, and he had a stroke.
I love how you said that. Ironic happenings happened, because it's very true.
And they pull him in, and he's literally like stroke face.
Yeah, like, y'all ever seen the episode of Family Guy where Peter Griffin eats like too many fucking chicken nuggets and hamburgers and all that shit, and he just kind of limps into that office? That's what he looked like. So if you can't talk, just write it.
Yeah, the inspector says, was it a yes or no question? Basically, he said yes or no. So he grabs the brush and he writes it down, and the inspector pulls like, he said no.
He said no.
You're guilty. So Chung gets thrown to jail.
That poor bastard. Which this scene is actually kind of funny. Now, this whole time, he still has no clue that Tam is behind all this shit, right? So he's like, yo, Tam has spent a lot of money on me, and I work for him and all this other shit. Well, the other two people in Tam's sector go to see him, and they're just like, yeah, you're probably not getting out of here, dude. He's doing the best he can. Well, the guards come in to give him this giant fucking meal, and he's like, oh, Tam must have paid for this. And they're just sitting there like, yeah, you're sentenced to death by beheading tomorrow, so you might want to eat up. Well, the way that Chung figures out how to get out of this situation is just goddamn brilliant, because the whole time he is telling people that he knows Kung Fu, because they keep calling him fat because he's a larger dude, and nobody believes that he knows Kung Fu, which he obviously does.
Mm-hmm.
So his first plan is to eat as much of this food as possible quickly so he'll get a stomach ache and they can let him out. That doesn't work. So he spits, he throws the plate. He throws a plate at the guards, and it was like fine china or some shit, and they get pissed because he broke the plate.
So they go in to discipline him.
Oh, that's not at all what happens.
No, because while he was literally getting beat with two like staffs or something, two other guards from down the hall were like, oh, I wish we were doing that, like beating the freaking prisoners and shit.
I want to beat his ass.
So they turn around and Chung is literally mimicking getting beat while he knocks the two of them out. He's like, no, don't hit me. Don't hit me. Oh, don't hit me. And he's grabbing the keys, unlocking his fucking handcuffs, and just like, yeah, don't hit me again. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Goes, grabs, and this fucking scene, oh my God, I was laughing my ass off. It was so stupid. He grabs the staff and he's running down the hall to the other two guards screaming. And it was I'm telling you, 3 separate times that they used the same running sequence to make that scene.
It's the longest fucking hallway ever.
Every time they cut back to Chung, it was the same distance away from the guards.
It reminds me of Kung Pao Enter the Fist. Chosen one!
Yep.
I'm coming. Chosen one! I'm coming. Like the same shot over and over again. But dude, yeah, when he finally gets to him, he just fucking beats the shit out of him. I love that shit. That was so genius, man.
Like watching when you go up on Super Mario Brothers 64 with the Bowser staircase that just keeps going.
Yes.
It's pretty much just that.
Yes.
Like just play that music with that sequence.
Well, dude, then we get to he runs into the forest and he trips over this coffin and he busts it open. And it's like this. It's just this corpse like laying there, and he feels bad for having disgraced the corpse basically. So he cleans it off a little bit, and he uses the roof of the coffin to sleep on. Well, the corpse starts mimicking literally every move that Chung does. Chung doesn't even realize this is happening. I mean, he even like wakes up middle of the night and goes to piss against the wall, and the fucking corpse is doing it too, and it's really hilarious.
I kind of half expected the corpse to just piss like dust.
Yeah, you just. Like when this old like stupid moves, like you open the fucking wallet and there's dust and moths that like fly out of it. He just unzips his fly and and just dust and moths and shit.
No, he shits out moths. He pisses dust.
That's right. But yeah, so like he goes to lay back down and he notices the corpse isn't there. And there's a funny sequence where he's seeing how the corpse reacts to his actions. So he tries to like mimic hitting himself in the head with a brick, and it doesn't work because the corpse is still sitting there, and he sits back up. He's like, what the fuck? And the corpse like smacks him with the brick and drops the brick on his dick.
Mm-hmm.
He actually runs away from this corpse. There's this evil force that makes it attack him and chase him. Well, while he's running away, he bumps into the inspector and his men, which is funny because the gang of people around him are just like, oh, fuck this.
Yeah, because they literally like rubberneck to see like what's following. Oh shit, that's a fucking dead body.
Yeah, then the Jiangxi basically like collapses onto the inspector, and he's just sitting there. He's like, get this thing off of me. And Chung like just escapes or whatever. And he meets up with Sui, who basically is like, I'm going to train you, but let's go eat first. So they go to eat. I forgot something about the whole sequence before this, whenever he was mimicking him.
Mm-hmm.
When Chung does the fucking YMCA dance.
Oh yeah.
And the corpse fucking does it too. And then also the evil force that ruins all this, which just so happened to be my fucking cat Loki making a cameo in this movie. Just this black cat just and like
That's
lightning
right.
strikes out of his dick onto this fucking corpse. I'm not shitting you.
Aerosmith was channeling this cat.
Fuck.
Lightning strikes.
Joey Kramer, poor bastard, fell over again.
He was the corpse.
Go back and listen to our Flop 10 music video episode if you want more information on that shit.
Catch that reference.
That's it.
But yeah, all that stuff happens. Then we get back to the little outdoor noodle shop that they have for rice. And Master Chin is outside, ready to fuck with him.
Yeah, because he's got like this paper basically with his date of birth and shit on it. And we forgot to mention this movie also makes use of the voodoo doll thing or whatever. So he possesses his right hand. And this is where I was thinking like Evil Dead 2 could have definitely got this from, because Chung is doing like pretty much the same shit that Bruce Campbell did in Evil Dead 2, where he's smashing plates, he's punching people, but he's like beating himself up, and then he grabs his head and like flips himself over onto the ground. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is a total parallel with that movie. Although it came before Evil Dead 2, obviously, but still.
But it was just funny. He was stopping himself from eating because every time he would fucking pick up the spoon, he would just like stop. So he would put his hand down, grab it with his other hand, and then his other hand would stop him from doing it. And then
or the right hand would like throw the rice at people and shit.
Yeah, he threw the whole fucking bowl at one dude and just like pissed everybody off.
Yeah, so the restaurant goes and grabs the inspector, and they're like, arrest this man. He ruined and destroyed our restaurant.
Our world-class fucking rice.
This is our world-class rice in a shanty. He fucked it up 9 ways of Sunday, Inspector. And the inspector's just like, you motherfucker.
You killed your wife and ruined this rice hut?
How dare you? How dare you?
But yeah, he ends up getting use of his hand back because Sui goes and confronts Chin because he knows what's going on. Like, something's really off about this. So while he's confronting Chin, Chung is literally fighting all 4 or 5 officers at the same time with like the Chinese swords and shit. And I'm like, dude, this is fucking impressive, because he gets a fucking like stool, like a bench, and he like kicks up in the air, and he'll like block the shots with the damn bench and like knock it around. I mean,
dude, this whole sequence was just fucking impressive.
Like, this is like, I think this is where like Jackie Chan gets a lot of inspiration from, honestly, like stuff like this, because it literally reminded me of what he would do in these sequences.
You can't deny like the parallels with Sammo Hung and Jackie Chan doing some of these like wild things, even though I think Jackie Chan was more credited with it because he was a much bigger star.
Mm-hmm.
And he was known for taking like really wild risks, like stunt wise. But this is like, as far as the fight choreography was really well done. I mean, Sammo Hung did the fight choreography on this film too. But it would not surprise me if they have worked together before, because like you said, this was very much Jackie Chan-esque.
Right.
So cool, like swords, stool, punches, kick it, like just dodging, everything, just the way they did it. And I know they probably had several takes, but to see some of these sequences happen in one take, it's still impressive.
Oh yeah, I was having so much fun with that fight. Like, that was probably one of my favorite parts of the film, to be honest.
Well, so he basically uses his magic to manipulate the inspector's men into fighting with the inspector. while he and Chung escape, which that scene was kind of funny because he's just like, what the hell? And his hair's all like frizzled and shit.
Yeah, it gets the band that holds into a ponytail like knocked off, and he's just like a freaking Garnier Fruit Keys commercial. Like, oh, you have frizzy hair? Just poof.
It's more like Garnier, fuck this.
Yeah, I'm done with your shit.
I'm done with your shit.
So yeah, they end up taking off, and this is the part where it's okay. Now we got to confront Chin and find out, who the killer is, basically, or not the killer, but the person behind all this. But Sui presents the paper, and he says, "Do you know anybody who knows your information?" And he's like, "Well, my wife and Master Tam," and he's just like, "Well, put two and two together." Basically, he's like, "It can't be Master Tam. No, I've trusted him for so long, and he treated me so well.
He paid me well.
Yeah, he paid my wife well.
Yeah, he did.
Which, come to find out, yeah, obviously the wife's not dead.
Yeah, no, she's just sitting there and she's like, I want him dead. I want him more than dead. Blah, blah, blah. And they're just like, patience. So Chen sends a fucking vampire after Sui and Chung as Chung is having like all these talismans drawn onto his body, and Sui's trying to like basically protect him. Like he's giving him the shorthand version of his abilities, basically.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say this is another cool shot too. Whenever the vampires they show up, there's like this green orb glow outside of the house, and they just kind of like float down to the. It's a cool shot.
Oh yeah.
And they go in and they have this really cool fight sequence in there as well. Which we is this where he gives him that like apron looking thing?
Yeah, the petticoat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which that was cool too. Like so, this thing is basically just like another magical item that's going to protect him more. Well, they wind up defeating them, and they use magic to make one of the corpses tell them where Chen is hiding. So it's at Tam's house. So this is fucking funny. Okay. So they roll into the house to fucking challenge him, and basically they're going to use like these fucking, like, what are they called?
The altars.
Yeah, they build these fucking altars, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Sui and Chung roll into there. When they hit the door falls over and you hear wood break. I'm not shitting you. It is the exact same fucking sound effect that happens when you break a crate in the Crash Bandicoot game.
Mm-hmm.
The exact one. Because that's the first thing I thought of. I was like, oh, who the fuck got the Wumpa fruit?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they got the Whoopa fruit because they're about to whoop some ass is what's happening here. However, what I thought was even funnier was when it was either Chin or Tan that was just like, the largest altar will claim victory.
It was Chin, because between him and Sui, the sect was always saying whoever had the tallest altar would have more power over the other in the battle.
A talter.
Yeah. So
this is so fucking Looney Tunes-ish too, man.
They ordered all of the subordinates to like raise his altar up higher on like a platform. Like, I mean, it's like a good like 20, 30 feet off the ground.
Right.
Well, Chung and Sui are like, oh, okay, we got this. So Chung hit the lever, or Krunk hit the lever, whatever you want to go joke.
Fucking like crankshaft looking shit.
It's like a scissors. It's a scissor scaffold. It literally just goes. It cranks up all the way to the same level as Chin, and they're literally having spiritual battles back and forth with each other with their magic.
And while that's going on, they're each possessing like their quote unquote champions. Where Sui is possessing Chung to fight, and Chin is possessing this other dude.
Yeah,
another badass sequence.
Which they use the spirit of a tiger for Chin's warrior and some other animal. I forget what it was.
Well, Chung is possessed by the monkey god.
Right. Yeah. So they end up battling, and they become the animal of choice, or they become the deity of choice. Like, they're not just enhanced by it, they are those deities. Because Chung is just chimping around, just squeaking and stuff. And
the animal noises they're making when they're talking to each other is fucking funny too.
Yeah, the spirits talking is like fast-paced chipmunk noise.
It's so stupid, but I love it.
But again, the fighting is so fucking well done. Like, I love just how they're all over the fucking courtyard. Like, they're going back and forth at each other. They're bouncing off of pillars and like kicking each other through the horse troughs and shit like that. And eventually, Chung wins and, knocks the shit out of him.
This is where like Chin and Tam finally have their confrontation.
This is where Chin possesses Tam.
Yeah, well, yeah, Chen basically forces Tam to be possessed with the spirit of Ludong Ben, he was a Chinese scholar and a poet, like during the Tang Dynasty.
Right.
This motherfucker lived the 220 years, but they can't really say yes or no. But either way, he's basically one of the most widely known deities. And Chung is possessed by Neza, who is a protection deity in Chinese folklore. And he's basically the marshal of the central altar, the third Lotus Prince, basically. And they have a really fucking crazy battle too, because Chung has this spear, and then Tam has this, what, a sword, basically?
It's a Chinese type sword, and I don't know the name or the type. It's a particular one, but it has like a tassel on the end of it. It's a long tassel. And they use that tassel at certain points to like actually throw off an attack and keep balance with the swings and stuff too, which was really cool. But they again just go at each other. And at this point in the movie, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I know what they're doing.
He's trying to cut that fucking
the petticoat off, because
Yep.
Chen sees it and he's like, no, we can't have that. So they're fighting each other, and you'll see like points where they're doing the little chitter chatter back and forth again with the part. And Tam eventually cuts off enough to where the petticoat falls down, and Sui's just like, okay, you're about to lose, Chung. You need to give me something of his. So he chucks a shoe that Tam wore.
Yeah, basically, yeah, his fucking shoe.
Because he's trying to stop him before he gets too far. And he throws his shoe up at him, and he like paralyzes him with a needle stuck in the shoe, and it goes through his foot.
Yeah, because of the voodoo doll thing.
Yeah.
Which that was a fucking cool sequence too. Now, after this motherfucker gets his ass kicked, Chung goes to just cut the fucking altar's legs out from under it because Chen is trying to attack Sui with fire, which he resists.
Yeah.
But when he cuts the fucking legs off of this altar, Sui fires back and legit torches Chen, which this was a really good looking fire stunt, like an actual practical fire stunt effect. This dude takes a fall off the top of this altar onto the sand pit and is just rolling the fuck around. And I remember, dude, you cracked my ass up with that fucking shit because you were like, dude, it's a magical fire. You're not going to roll that shit out.
No, you're not. Stop, drop, and roll ain't going to work here, buddy.
No, or stop, drop, and know your roll. You're dead.
But at the same time, Sui falls off and he plunges down.
God damn it, dude. That fucking shit made me kind of laugh a little bit, though, because when he hits the fucking ground, Chung fails to catch him and he just runs over. Master, are you okay? And he's just like, you idiot. Can you survive a leap like this? And fucking dies.
Well,
yeah, let's get to the ending because Jesus fuck, dude.
This is the best ending, one of the best endings I've ever seen in a film. Like and before we say anything, no, I'm not advocating what is happening. Obviously, I'm advocating the humor behind it of everything that has transpired up until this point.
Yeah, because let's be honest, at this point, this particular character deserves this shit.
Yeah.
So Chung's wife in all this bullshit steps forward and she's trying to convince him that Tam was going to have his way with her and that she was forced into all this shit. And she's trying to like guilt him and all this other shit, like, oh, I love you and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
oh, you're the real like deal and all this shit.
Well, it was funny because she came out and she saw him and she licked her two fingers, like her pinky and her main finger, and like put it over her eyes. It's like, oh, I'm crying. I'm like, oh, bitch, stop.
Hey, you fucking bastard. So Chung is just not even having this shit anymore. Like he knows, he sees right through it. So he just like, he puts her at arm's length and he punches her in the stomach like a shitload of times. And then he fucking, like, no bullshit, just throws her, and the fucking movie stops, like freeze frame midair of her like flying through the air, and the end. And that was Encounters of the Spooky Kind, aka Spooky Encounter, which absolutely wins by a goddamn landslide this week. I say landslide, but
don't get me wrong. Eternal Evil of Asia was a good film. My biggest problem with that film was how uncomfortable I was with a lot of the sex. The amount of it was just like, I can't. Especially the last part. The last part was so absurdly strange that I was just like, we were talking about earlier, like, how do you have fellatio with a fucking ghost.
Yeah, I think the only two parts that I would have left in were, okay, for plot purposes, the actual like four of them having the orgy, because that's integral to the plot.
Right.
And then for strictly comedic purposes, the flying fucking couple in the fight when they were on that island, because that was fucking hilarious.
But the love potion sequence could have tamed it a little bit. And then definitely the last part, no.
But again, you have to understand, not you, I'm talking to our listeners here. It's like, you have to understand that at that point in time, in the mid 90s, a lot of the shit that was coming out of the category 3 craze from Hong Kong was very taboo. And like, it was very much like, okay, we're going to make some of the craziest shit you've ever seen because it's what's selling, because people wanted like shock value. They wanted that over the top, but no matter if it was like sex, comedy, violence. Yeah.
But yeah, it was like, do it now while we have the power to do it, basically.
Yeah.
But like I said, there were a lot of cool things about Eternal Evil of Asia and a lot of funny things about it, like we mentioned. But those certain sequences, I'm not a big advocate for the use of sex to not really move the plot along, I guess you can say. Like, or there are certain unnecessary uses of it, period. And I think that's why Spooky Encounters wins for me, because yes, there was, the affair and all this other shit going on, but it wasn't distasteful. It was like the one time where you saw like two legs sticking up in the air and it's like, oh shit, something's happening. And everything else about the film was funny. It was badass. It had like heart. It had supernatural shit going on. And I love this film left and right.
Yeah, I think basically this movie had the mix of everything done correctly. And if Eternal Evil of Asia wasn't so much necessarily made to go over the top, and somebody just wanted to make this movie and include all this shit in there because it's an amalgam of a bunch of shit into one film, Encounters of the Spooky Kind does it so much better, just because, like you said, it's tasteful, it's more thought out. There's like heart to the story. The plot is pretty damn like good.
Yeah.
I think I was much more entertained by it than anything, though, because I remember seeing clips on YouTube, not the whole film, just clips, and I was like, I want to see this movie regardless.
Mm-hmm.
But it was fun. It was one of the, it was like you have fun. Well, both of these movies are fun, but Encounters of the Spooky Kind, I want to say, is like, to quote our friends at From the Middle, which we were just on their most recent episode, when they were asking us, is there a movie you found or some movies you found that are like a gem or that you were absolutely be excited to watch it again? This.
Yeah. That, oh my God. I would rewatch that movie so many times because it's just the campy kung fu aspect before like Kung Pao and others like it. That's the prime time for that kind of stuff, like back then.
Right. I don't think there would be a Kung Pao Enter the Fist if it weren't for films like Encounters of the Spooky Kind, honestly.
Right.
Yeah, like it's so cool that this really like kicked off a specific genre of cinema.
Mm-hmm.
It's based on Chinese folklore of reanimated corpses controlled by Taoist priests.
Yep.
And it's like zombies and vampires.
Oh my.
Yeah. This was probably one of the more fun matchups that we've done in quite some time. And not that they're not fun, because we obviously have a fucking blast with all these movies and shit, but I really enjoyed the last few of these where we've gone into like foreign cinema and stuff like that, which we want to do more, because like the foreign market is so just filled with gems and filled with just stuff that you can't find here, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're going to get stupid as fuck on the next Cult Cinema Showdown. Alien Private Eye versus Robo Chick. We're going to go from like really good, campy, Chinese, Asian cinema stuff. We're going to come right back to the ridiculousness of American cinema and what the fuck of these movies.
I get vibes of like Hot Wax Motorcycle, whatever that movie was.
Hot Wax Zombies on Wheels.
Yeah, I just get movie vibes from that. Just by the title alone for the second one.
Probably so.
I think we've delved enough into the weird to where I'm like, oh, I'm tapped.
Yeah, we're gonna do a different type of weird on the next one, but shit, man,
just fucking cum sorcerers, and yeah, weird Yeah, I don't even know what to describe all this shit, but it's just like, yeah, jizz magic and yeah,
Jizz Master J.
yeah.
Well, that was episode 176, Cult Cinema Showdown 75, The Eternal Evil of Asia versus Encounter of the Spooky Kind. Until next week, I've been Midnight Agent Raw.
And I'm Okame.
Shades on.